Thank you for being here today. Being from Lancaster County, I like to talk about the Conservation District Fund a little bit. I know there's some frustration in our area and other areas about monies coming in and the timing of it. Real quickly, describe your relationship with them or how that works so that people, because I do think there is confusion, concerning that and the funding and the cash flow, out to the districts.
Sure. We receive a line item in our budget, as does Department of Agriculture. And then in addition, there's some Environmental Stewardship Fund money and Act 13 money. They end up, in terms of the general fund and the Act 13 piece, there's over $7 million available in those pots, and then an additional $2.2 million each year out of Growing Greener for the watershed specialists in each of the counties. So we fund them through the Conservation District Fund, and then, as I say, we have quarterly requests for reimbursements.
Let me ask you about that. With my background as an accountant, isn't there a way that maybe we can streamline this process? I mean, should this even be part of DEP or even AG's budget? I mean, should we be thinking kind of outside the box? I mean, when people are concerned about not getting their funding and their money in a timely fashion, this seems like maybe something we should look at and maybe try to. I mean, that's just me thinking. I don't know what your thoughts are. I mean, should we be having these transfers?
I'll say we've had some meetings in the department here very recently where I've made it abundantly clear to staff that the expectation is that our conservation districts are funded and reimbursed in very timely ways. That we rely on their partnership for a variety of things, not the least of which is erosion, the 102 erosion sedimentation programs and the Chesapeake Bay commitments that we have. So it is absolutely critical that we're seeing those monies out the door, and I think we have a good working relationship now with the Conservation Commission to get that accomplished.
With tight budgets, and like we said, it's with a lot of these restricted accounts. At the end of 2015-16, we had a little over $5.5 million in that account. And the following year, we had over $5.5 million again. And I guess what I'm wondering is, we are looking for monies to help balance the budget. Why are we keeping a balance such as that in there when, like I said, the money's to be distributed to these districts?
So thank you for that. It actually has everything to do with the cash flow into that account. So the PUC manages the Act 13 dollars and the transfers out of the fund to the Conservation District. That doesn't happen until right at the end of the fiscal year. So what you're seeing as a balance is actually money they plan on spending over the course of the next fiscal year that they really haven't gotten until the end of that previous fiscal year, just because of the fact that the money doesn't come in until the spring.
There's a federal component to this also. How much do we receive as far as federal funds? Do they receive, and what are the mandated uses associated with those monies from the feds?
So we receive. There's a few different funding sources, and I'd have to get you the exact amounts, but we receive two different Chesapeake Bay grants. One kind of focused on the technicians, one focused on projects, and then they're also competitive in our what we call our 319 grants, which act like Growing Greener, but it's federal dollars. And we use Growing Greener monies to match
So you'll let me know what those amounts are. And then one last, you don't have to tell me this now. I think I'd like to see it in an email. Maybe you could share this with the chairman. I'd like to know how many commitments are associated with the fund, with the Conservation District Fund.
Certainly.
What is the total cost of these commitments? How many projects, give me maybe some background history of how many projects you fund in a year. Are all these commitments funded in 1 year? And then I'd like to know what specific criteria you use to determine which commitments get funded each year.
Certainly.
If you could do that. I think that would be, I would think that'd be a big help to us and as we go through this process. So thank you. I'll defer the rest of my time.
Thank you.